Hey guys, so today on this episode, we get the pleasure to interview Jessica Thompson, my lovely co-host for the Core for Momentum podcast. Jessica, I have a lot of questions for you, just for our listeners to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so my first question is, can you tell our listeners a little bit more just about yourself, like where you're from, where you went to school, your background?
Yeah. So I am from Mississippi, very small town called Charleston, Mississippi. In Charleston, I was a cheerleader in high school, and my cheer coach kind of informed me what physical therapy was. I had no idea what I wanted to do or what I wanted to major in college, but I knew I wanted to be in healthcare. So, and with the influence of my cheer coach and my mom, who's a nurse, I kind of decided and did, my own research and decided that physical therapy was something that I would be interested in. Initially, I really wanted to work with athletes, so I wanted to do kind of like sports medicine. So I went to school at the University of Southern Mississippi, and I chose to major in kinesiotherapy, which is like the science of movement, very similar to physical therapy, um, but just not as in depth as far as the clinical reasoning skills and the modalities.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to major in that because I knew I would get a lot of the prereqs that I needed for PT school without having to go to summer school so often. So I did that. I really loved it. It was like confirmation that physical therapy was what I wanted to pursue.
Mm-hmm.
With kinesiotherapy, I had a clinical internship with working with spinal cord injuries in undergrad, patients with spinal cord injuries. And so through that internship, I got to work closely with physical therapists. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, again, I can see myself being a physical therapist. So I was like, this is the right thing. I didn't really have to change my major much in school. And so after undergrad at USM, I was a tech at a physical therapy clinic, an outpatient clinic,
Mm-hmm.
for a year while I was applying for PT school because their process is a lot. And I didn't want to go straight into PT school. I needed a year to get my life together. So being a tech at an outpatient clinic, I was actually at a pelvic health specialty outpatient clinic. And so that is how I learned about what pelvic floor PTs did, and
Mm-hmm.
being a tech and scheduling those patients and watching them grow from the first day of being kind of hesitant and not knowing what they're expecting, to discharge and seeing them actually kind of transform and just become better. I knew that not only did I want to do PT, but I also wanted to do pelvic PT.
Oh, so during when you were a tech, is that when you first had the idea to go into pelvic health, or did that happen like later, or when?
It was actually while I was a tech because I just thought I was interviewing for just a regular orthopedic
Mm-hmm.
PT clinic. But after the interview, my supervisor was like, I actually think you'll be great in our specialty clinic. She was like, you have a good personality. And I was like, okay. So just working there for a year, and I really loved the therapists there and how hands-on they were and how educated they were, and just it was just a realm of PT that I didn't get to see
Mm-hmm.
ever before. And I was like, I think, and I could tell that the patients were underserved, and it was very hard to, like, we would have patients come like literally 2 hours away from 2 hours away because it was the closest like pelvic PT that they could find. And I'm like, okay, I think I can help fill in a gap here and serve these patients. So
Mm-hmm. That's awesome because I feel like whenever I hear about a pelvic PT that knew that they wanted to do it before PT school, I'm always like, what? Because like when I went to PT school, I didn't even know that it was a thing. So whenever I hear that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. What a good like experience.
yeah, it was a really good experience. And 50% of my professors and my classmates, I'm sure, probably thought I was very weird because I knew about it before PT school and I was open about wanting to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it was received well from a lot of people. I think I was like a weirdo in
Well,
PT school, but oh well.
oh well, it's fine. I think pelvic PTs embrace that. It's fine.
Yeah,
We can
yeah,
talk about it all day long.
exactly.
Um, okay, so you finished PT school, and so what are you up to now?
Now I've been working for, I don't know, maybe 7 months or so,
Hmm.
in an outpatient orthopedic clinic mainly. So I see mostly ortho patients, but I'm expanding my caseload to see more patients with pelvic floor dysfunction and things like that. So that is growing, and I'm excited about it. The where I work in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and there is a need for pelvic PTs in the area that I work at, and so I'm excited to kind of help kind of fill in that gap and serve those patients. So it's I'm a newbie, but it's fun and I'm growing and my caseload is growing, so I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, I think so this is, I guess for our listeners, this is kind of like a funny coincidence, but like, well, Jessica and I met like through Core 4, like randomly. We were just like, Julia like picked a few of us, and I mean, the the odds of this happening is like so weird, but like, so I worked in Snellville for my first year out of school, which is like right next to Lawrenceville, and so like, and then I moved, and then when I moved, I felt really bad because I was like, oh crap, like all these patients that I was treating for pelvic health now have like nowhere to go, or they have to drive like an hour away. And then I found out Jessica was starting her job in Lawrenceville, which is just like 10-15 minutes from Snellville, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like perfect like timing.
Yeah.
um and so now I'm like, anytime I find out, because I have a lot of connections in Georgia still, so whenever I find out someone like needs someone, I'm like, I got someone for you in Lawrenceville to go like check out to see, if that's like close enough for them. uh,
Yeah.
so it's just like a crazy like coincidence, how that all worked out, and makes me really happy that you're there in Lawrenceville, because that area just like really really needs pelvic health. So thank goodness you're there now.
Definitely happy to be there and happy for all the patients that you've referred to me so far. Thanks.
No problem. Um, so um, my last question that I have. So, I mean, in pelvic PT, there's like so many different ways you can go with it, right? Like, there's just people think pelvic PT is like one specialty, but within pelvic PT, there's a lot of specialties too. And so, I know you're just starting out, and I mean, I am too. But like, have you found, is there a certain like patient type that you really enjoy treating and have like a stronger passion for treating? And if you do have that, why?
Okay, well, that's such a great question. I think right now my favorite just population to treat within pelvic PT would be women postpartum. I like absolutely love it. There's just so many things that we can educate women on about their bodies and how their bodies change in pregnancy and expectations for after pregnancy. A lot of times women after pregnancy are just more concerned about the baby than they are themselves. And sometimes we put ourselves on a back burner for too long, and we can develop like these chronic pains or chronic dysfunctions that could have been treated easier acutely, right? So whenever I'm a patient is referred to me postpartum or pregnant and in the third trimester, I'm so excited because I can kind of help teach women how important it is for them to prioritize their health along with prioritizing their baby. So I love it, and they're definitely my favorite population to treat and to educate and to empower. And it's always just a fun experience. Every day is new, and whenever they have concerns or questions, as a PT, someone they see usually weekly, I'm always there to answer those questions and to support them through the changes that their bodies are going through. It's
Mhm.
exciting and it's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, because we need that so bad. I mean, like we don't, like as women, I feel like we're not really, you know, we're not told exactly like what happens after. And so it's important to have like support. especially consistently, like weekly or on like bi-weekly. So
Mhm.
that's so important, especially in the US.
Yes, because many countries do just off the bat give women a certain amount of physical therapy visits after delivery because they understand the impact that having a baby has on a woman's body, and they understand the importance of preventative care and education on the front end so that we can hopefully stop these like chronic pains and chronic dysfunction on down the line. And that's what I want to happen in the US. And I honestly believe that it can happen if we keep pushing the message forward and educating and empowering and advocating for women. And so that's what I want to do.
Yeah. Gosh, the US is so bad at resting and like we're just like work, work, work. So
Yeah, and we shouldn't be. There's so much that we can do to replenish and to refuel and rehabilitate our bodies, and we gotta make time for that.
yeah, definitely. Um, Before we wrap up, is there any like other fun facts or like tidbits that you want our listeners to either like know about you or know about pelvic health, or um, do you have a vision for anything or any like goals or where you see yourself in the future?
Yeah, I definitely have a vision. My vision and just my mission for being a physical therapist, and especially wanting to specialize in pelvic health and women postpartum, is just to kind of help create a society where women prioritizing their health is normalized, where people with pelvic health concerns or conditions or pain don't have to feel alone, where discussing these issues isn't taboo. Um, so that's really my goal, just to create that more inclusive society where people are heard regardless of if talking about pelvic pain is comfortable for people or taboo or whatever. I just want us to move past that, so that people can get the help that they need.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great like vision and mission to have. And I feel like that really gets at the core of like um gets at the core of core for momentum. Oh my
I
god.
got you good there.
I am
Yeah,
like the least clever person and like witty person ever, so I can't believe that just happened.
high five, girl, virtual high five. That's good.
Okay, well, thank you so much for letting me interview you and help our listeners get to know you a little bit better.
Thanks for having me, Amy.
Hmm. Okay, where? Oh, here it is. Last question, Jessica. So, where can our listeners find you online?
Well, I just created a professional Instagram account. You can follow me at Dr. That's DRJT underscore the pelvic PT. And I try to post educational videos to kind of inform my audience all things women's health and pelvic health.
Mm-hmm. And it is awesome. I love your handle, Dr. JT. I'm like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Like
Oh
really.
no, thanks.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for chatting with us, Jessica, and letting everyone know about where to find you, and everything that got you into pelvic PT.
Thanks for having me, Amy.